if you don't totally agree with the price, the staff is always friendly and nice and willing to work with you.
That's the Yard Sale Store in Smyrna at 111 Enon Springs Road West, in Murfreesboro at 204 South Front Street, and online at bestdealintown.com.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance policy perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available at select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliates.
This is Conversations with Mike Sparks.
Are you concerned with the state of America, your state, your community? Then you're in the right place. State Representative Mike Sparks. He and guests are here to talk about local politics, history, faith, and freedom.
All right, you listen to the Conversation. Mike Sparks, your host, Mike Sparks. Roger Thomas, how you doing?
Doing great, man. How you doing?
Doing good. Connor, how you doing?
Good. I'm a fourth-year senior.
I'm always asking him how's school. He's like, graduated 4 years ago. My memory isn't that good. When you get older, that's what happens to you. You know, got Jeremy Smithson coming in, our faithful intern who's always late.
I just saw him in a video running. Was you running to get here?
We got to work on the soft skills, and I've got Mark Lewis fixing to call in, and Mark Brassfield, the owner of the Safe House. Mark, how you doing?
Wonderful.
It's been a while since you've been up here.
He is risen.
Yeah, amen. Yeah. Amen.
That's it. Doing great. Doing really good.
Yeah, I think Mark's on there now, I believe.
Yeah, I thought you were ghosting me there for a while.
Oh, no, you're always.
Yeah, I called you a lot, and you just never called me back. I was starting to get my feelings hurt, and then all of a sudden, boop, you called me.
I've been busy.
Made my day.
All right. I think we got Mark on there. Mark Lewis, how you doing?
Hey, Mike Sparks. How you doing there, my friend?
Hey, doing good, doing good. How was church this morning?
Oh, it was great, man. You know, I had one of those stellar weeks this week. You know, I got to be the chaplain of the day there at the State House this week, and then I got to baptize my son's girlfriend this morning at church. So it's been an awesome day.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome day, man.
Yeah, that was cool. You know, I knew we had you scheduled to come up to do the invocation, but I just didn't have it on my mind. And I went down there to the fitness center, was exercising a little bit, and I come up with my tie all loose, my sleeves up, and had my jacket in my hand. The girl said, "Here, you need to sign this. You got the chaplain of the day." And man, it was like a minute to go. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I had no bio prepared, and it was just spontaneous. I had to make up a bunch of good stuff about you, but it all kind of worked out, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, man. Yeah, you did a great job, and it was pretty awesome, man. That was a great experience, and I really enjoyed doing that, you know.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, the only thing I started thinking later, I should have mentioned your engineering background. I forgot to mention that, and where you went to school.
I'm a product of Tennessee Tech, man. You know.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that's great. Well, it was good, man. It's been a great day today. We had a bunch of family over for lunch and everything today, so it's pretty awesome.
Well, what's the importance of Easter for those that may not be believers, may not be in church or anything? Give us a good overview of Easter, why it matters to Christians.
Well, you know, of course, Easter is the cornerstone of the Christian belief. You know that we know for a fact it's a historical statement that Jesus was crucified on the cross, and there was eyewitnesses seen him raised from the dead on the third day, which would have been this morning, would have been the day that he was risen. His tomb was empty, and of course that's what we base our eternal life on, and the thing that just makes the whole thing of Christianity. That's the cornerstone of it. That's the hinge-pin of it that keeps it all together. And without the resurrection, Jesus is just another guy that got killed on the cross. But that's the difference in God and man form that makes what we believe and makes the Christian faith where it's at today, you know. And anything short of that is is a counterfeit, you know.
So, Jim Winchester in our Sunday school class, he mentioned, and I hope I got this right, was it Mary Magdalene was the first evangelist. I heard him say that.
Yeah.
Because, is that right? Is that right, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Okay. And I had never thought about that.
Well, my understanding is, she was the way the scriptures say that she was the first one to see the empty tomb. Her and another Mary that were there, they seen the empty tomb first, and they come back and say, "He's risen, man." So they got to go, and then Peter runs back in there through the other gospel accounts that he run through there. I think in Luke, he run back and says, "Man, it was the tomb was empty, man, and the burial cloths were folded up there in the tomb, man. They wasn't laid loose like somebody told him. They were folded up, and of course, if you in a restaurant, if you fold your napkin up, that means you're coming back, right? So that's one of the cool things about that story is that there's always something a little deeper than what's on the surface when you read the Bible. But that's when he left his stuff folded up, he's coming back again, and that's the hope and the things that we pray for in our faith. That he's going to come back one day and come back soon.
Yes. Well, you coming up this week. I mean, quickly I had to kind of compose my thoughts and come up with a bio real quick, and there's probably, there could be 7 million people watching this. I mean, not that there is. I mean, it may be 5, 10, 20,000, and I mentioned Men of Hope, and in fact, we need to get Mark Brassfield to come over there and speak one day, and how that all kind of got started. What, you got about 170 guys now on the rolls? Yeah, we had that. Probably in a year's time, we've had 170 different people show up there, and we average about 50 or so guys there every other Saturday morning, and it's really cool because we have a core of probably 25 or 30 there that's every time, and then the other 25 or so show up. There's a different ones of those that show up, and I know it. We have different reasons why people show up like that. We've had some weeks where we've had closer to 70 or 75 showing up in a week's time, so. Yeah. It's just. Well, I got to give a shout out to Mike Serenowski and Nick Corbett, who always makes coffee and breakfast, which, believe it or not, that gets a few people up and motivated to get over there. And I think I offended a few Church of Christ people because I said, man, we got Baptists, we got Methodists, we got some Catholics. I said, but we lack in the area of Church of Christ. I don't think we have anybody Church of Christ. There's 1 or 2 Church of Christ. Is there? Yeah, believe it or not, and they ain't been, some of them haven't been there in a while, but there are a couple that show up in there. It's really neat. That group of men is really outstanding because of the background and different denominations that there are out there. But it really, I had a couple of guys. Burkhardt out of Clarksville come up to me, kidding me later. He's like, man, some of us got offended when you mentioned that, and but it went good. I shared that what I call synchronicity, God wink moment. I think Mark knows this, where I had just had a proclamation about mentorship last week, and the past 2 weeks we kind of got into that with Colonel Jim Reed and Marcus Manise and some others a few weeks ago about the importance of a positive male role model, positive mentor. And I always consider Bob Spivey a mentor. I was with him in his last hours. He was paralyzed and couldn't move, and his pinky'd move and his eyebrow would twitch. And I just thanked him for taking time out of his life to make a difference in mine. And he had the vision to bring Motlow to Smyrna, and he was the first one to ask me to run for office, and also brought me to Smyrna Rotary. And and I prayed. I literally prayed for him to pass because he's just. He was ready to go, and asked God to give him peace, but spoke at his funeral at Hope Fellowship, which was, I guess, Trinity at the time. And after that funeral, the hearse was coming down the road, Mark, and I seen a hearse. After the funeral, I pulled over at Advance Auto Parts. Bob owned Advance. Then he owned Southern Bank, and I don't know who it was. He had been escorted by a fire chief. I think Andy Miller was one of the officers escorting his funeral, the hearse, and I thought, I wonder who that is. And it didn't hit me for a second. I thought, wait a second, that's Bob. There goes Bob. It was kind of sad. I don't see Bob no more. and I got on San Bernardino Parkway, which I was able to name Boss Spivey Highway years ago, a little bit more highway, before he passed. And my wife called, and I shared this with the General Assembly. I said, my wife called me. She said, I just checked the mail, and Bob mailed you a campaign donation. And I heard some people in the crowd kind of make that little, what do you call that? We go, what is that called?
Gasp.
A gasp, you know.
Gasp, yeah.
And I said, that was a what I call an attaboy, kind of a God wink moment. But you talk about the hardships of, I guess you had a tough relationship with your father. A lot of times you mention that during a lot of the talk. Why does that matter? I mean, why does it matter to you?
Well, I think that all of us, we have injuries in our life. Different men have different wounds, and some of them have to do with your father, and some of them have to do with your mother. We're all wounded with a sin wound, and but when we understand, kind of figure out what those wounds are, we learn how to deal with them, and it helps our relationships out. The big thing is understanding that God is our true Heavenly Father. That changes up a lot. If your father left or died, or you didn't have one, or didn't have a very good one, you always miss that bonding, that love that you expect a father to do for you. And if it doesn't happen, then you're where you left in kind of like a vacuum, because you don't know what to do. You don't know how to be the man that you've been asked to be, that God requires us to be, or that you should be. And then that's the struggle you run through. And then you try to fill in with everything in the world to fill that void where you have a relationship with your parents, and sometimes most time it's bad. Most we'll have bad situations that happen where if we get involved with drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever it may be, trying to fill that void and just looking for something to give us some pleasure or peace or something. And it just causes us problems, And when we figure out what the cause of the problem is, then you can deal with it, But until we find that, we don't find it out. Sometimes we find out when we're in jail, or when we're, in the hospital half dead, or after a serious accident. We run into these things, we kind of understand what they are. But until then, we're kind of left out there in the lurch,
One of the statistics that I shared on the House floor 2 weeks ago, and I don't have them in front of me, but the one that stands out is it's roughly 85% of men in prison are from fatherless homes. I mean, 85%, and folks that don't care about this, like it don't affect them, it does affect you because you're paying for it. I mean, our prison budget is about $1.4 billion, increased about $500 million since I got elected, and it's these issues do matter. But so we're meeting at Hope Fellowship this Saturday, right?
That's correct. At 7:30, the doors will be open, and we'll have coffee and breakfast will be served. And actually, we'll be on the doors at 7 o'clock. So if you come in and hang out fellowship, we got some guys get in there and talk a little bit early. That's how it works. And we've got people from 18, 19-year-olds up to 65 or 70. So it's all.
Well, it's cool.
As long as you're a man, you're welcome to come.
Yeah, it's cool to see some of them young guys. I was talking to a couple of them the other day. I said, man, this is the best investment you can make in your life right here. I said, you may not think it's serious. I said, but when I was 18, 19, you wouldn't have seen me at some Bible study at 7:30 in the morning. I can promise you, I'd have been in bed, at that time. But I know Jeremy's been coming out.
Yeah, Mike, you're the reason why I started going there.
Oh, it's my fault? Oh, it's my fault, huh?
Well, me too. Me too. Mike invited me, yeah.
Well, I know that Marty hosted an event for me the other day, and my wife and I celebrated 36 years of marriage, and
44, wasn't it?
Well, that's what Marty said. Marty's not good with his facts. He gets them all mixed up. Anyways, if Marty's listening, appreciate him hosting us. But my dad was married five times, and so that's probably I had a tough relationship with my dad, and he pulled a gun on me when I guess a few years before he passed. I mean, he may not have had a gun, but he was a man of his word, so I wasn't going to take no chances, you know what I mean? But anyways, the Lord took care of it before he died. But sometimes you think, well, why is this way in life or that way? And sometimes I look back and I think things happen for a reason. You know, you hear that little cliche, but yeah, my dad was just hard. It was World War II, and but thank God I had a dad. You know what I mean? You think of how many of these kids that don't.
And everything that's led you to where you're at today, and everyone else where we're at today, has made us the men we are. And if you're not a very good man, you got opportunity to do something about it. Or if you don't think you're a very good man, you got an opportunity to do something about it. But you know, everything that's gone through in your life has put you in the spot where you're at today.
Well, hopefully,
something to be thankful for, you know, and.
Well, hopefully you and others can impact these young dudes' lives that are there. I'm assuming a lot of those guys are there because of you and Kent Hayes and others. And shout out to Chuck Isbell, who's what time's Chuck get there? 6 o'clock, 5:45.
6 o'clock, and helps me set up every morning, every Saturday morning.
Yep, yep. You know, and God's got a place for everybody. Well, Mark, thank you so much, man, for what you do, and I'll see you next Saturday morning at 7:30. Folks, if folks want to get a hold of you, how they need to get a hold of you for more information?
They can, if they want to call, they can call me. They can look me up, Mark Lewis, online. I have an agency. My cell phone number's on there. If they want to call me, you know, you can call the office or whatever and get in touch with me. You know, I'll be glad to talk with anybody, man. You know, and help them out. But like I said, they can call my cell phone. But like I said, look up Mark Lewis Agent. That's Mark with a C. And I'm in Smyrna. My phone numbers are on there, cell phone, business number, and everything's on there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mark.
All right.
See you, Mark.
All right, Mike. You
We'll
guys have a
see
great day. Good
you.
to talk to you guys.
Thank you, brother. Hey, Connor, why don't we take a quick break and play one of those old, outdated
YMCA?
Safe House commercials when we come back. Folks, we'll be right back.
You know, Mike.
Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now the security riddle of the day. What's less secure than a fake safe from a big box or furniture store? Joe Biden's fake border policy, of course. But hey, there is good news. This time next year, Joe Biden will not be president. So drop by the Safe House and check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. Build a wall around your valuables with a safe from the Safe House. We have certified delivery crews to deliver and install your safe. Don't let a crackhead or illegal deliver your safe. With over 30 years in the safe business, the Safe House is the place to buy a safe in Tennessee. So go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com.
At Dr. Automotive in Smyrna, we're committed to providing local car owners with top-notch auto repair services. Let's hear what some customers have to say about Dr. Automotive.
I just really appreciate Danny and his whole team. I always feel like I'm going to get great service and the right outcome.
You just don't find any better people.
He's always been very good.
We've got the cure for your car. Dr. Automotive, keeping your car running smoothly mile after mile. Visit our website, smyrnaautorepair.com.
Mike and Felicia Sparks, owner of the Vanity Zone Salon, want to invite you to stop in for your next haircut or color. Their stylists Michelle, Tori, Tracy, Brandy, Sarah, and Gail offer the best creative cuts and color for all ages, for men and women. The Vanity Zone is located at 732 Nissan Drive in Smyrna, to the right of the Crystals Restaurant. To look and feel your best, visit the Vanity Zone Salon today. Call 615-355-1721 to book your next appointment.
AFFI is Middle Tennessee's premier choice for pest, wildlife, and moisture control. They specialize in those difficult and unique cases. You can reach them by phone at 615-300-2395. That's 615-300-2395. Or stop in at 200 Glenrose Lane in Smyrna.
Hey everybody, my name is Marcus Benice. I am the founder and executive director of Strong in My Father Youth and Family Services. Our organization is designed to help young men growing up in homes with our Father have a better chance at a better life and a better opportunity. Our organization is preventative, so our goal is to prevent kids from going to jail, juvenile, but live out the purpose that God truly has designed for them. For all information on our organization, if you're looking for a mentorship program and your child is between grades 2nd through 9th, we encourage you to go to our website, strongermyfather.org, for more information. Sign up to be a part of Stronger Sons Mentorship Program. And then we're hoping that this program continue to help your son live out the true dreams that God truly has designed for them.
Hey, I'm Floyd, and I'm inviting you to join me at CR. That's Celebrate Recovery. We meet at Family Worship Center, 3045 Memorial Boulevard on Sunday at 6 p.m. We're a 12-step Christ-centered program that offers help for all the hurts, habits, and hang-ups that's causing you pain. The program works if you work it, and I'm proof. For other CR groups, go to celebraterecovery.com and click on the group finder. Hope to see you soon.
When I say VFW, you probably have some visions of a smoke-filled bar with a bunch of old-timers eyeballing you. Well, the Stones River VFW is doing things different. No smoke-filled rooms, no turning prospective members away, and a strong emphasis on camaraderie and community. We believe in instilling our American values in our young people through numerous programs such as Voice of Democracy, Patriots Pen, Scout of the Year, and VFW Teacher of the Year. Stones River Post intends on becoming a driving force to help, aid, and assist wartime veterans. So if you're one of those veterans with a campaign medal and you want that sense of purpose that you've been missing, then give our recruiter Andrew Farr a call at 615-490-5715.
All right. I learned a new word last year. The word is bougie. You ever heard that word, Mark? Bougie?
Yeah, my daughter says it.
I got some bougie.
I personally don't use that word. But,
bougie in the house.
Yeah.
Tiffany Parker, my intern. How you doing, Tiffany?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Tiffany is my intern at the Jones Assembly. How you enjoying it up there?
I like it.
You know?
It gets crazy.
It does get crazy.
That's one way. One way to describe it, isn't it?
Anyways, I used the word bougie on the House floor. But the first time these Republican lawmakers ever heard the word bougie.
If they have daughters, I'm sure they've heard the word bougie.
Sure.
That's my daughter's.
It
favorite
wasn't
word.
on her. It was on Terica Black. Terica's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But you made a post about
Oh, I did. And you too. Yeah. Anyways,
Mike's good at that.
Yeah,
You have to use it appropriately. You can't just throw it out there
Well,
haphazardly.
exactly. Yeah. Anyway, she come walk. I don't know what it is about these interns. Is always late. Jeremy's our intern. Late. Tiffany's late.
No, he was running. I seen him running on the video.
You know, better late than never.
He's running to get here.
You know. No, are you working tomorrow?
No.
You're off tomorrow.
Terica will be in with you tomorrow.
Oh,
I'll be
Terica's
in
gonna come hang out. Yeah, Terica's gonna be hanging out with me a little bit.
Yeah.
She's sweet. She's looking for a job. You know, anybody looking to hire her.
Yeah.
She's out of Memphis.
Can she move safes?
Can she move safes? You know, I tell you what, you ought to get her to come out there and do a video or something. Seriously.
Yeah.
You know, she could probably sell a few safes.
Yeah.
I actually had a female that moved safes for me.
Okay.
Her name was Alice, and she was a power lifter.
Really?
okay.
But if you saw her, she did not look like a power lifter. Very attractive young lady, very smart.
This girl's super sweet.
Yeah.
She's just she's a little bougie. You know,
Little bougie, okay.
Speaking of bougie, Roger, there was something happened in the media the day that was in law enforcement, but the citizens of Rutherford County, Murfreesboro, and Smyrna kind of helped identify a culprit. Talk about it.
Yeah, at mattress, like I said, the guy dumped a mattress, and we see that
And
all
a
the time.
box
we
spring.
talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
In fact,
We get
you have
calls like that.
Yeah.
At your
At the office got calls.
But you did have you had a legislation on that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Passed it a couple years
Well,
ago.
I actually got to use some of that on some of the people that come over. You know, I get community service workers.
At Sam Davis Home.
And I had some guys that had got caught dumping.
Yep.
Wow.
And it was $500 fine plus community service. It was a lot of community service. It seemed like it was about 50 hours each.
Well, that's good.
And, you know, the hardest part's showing up, but you're going to work. I mean, I tell them this is punishment. You know, I mean, it's not here. It's, you know, it's punishment. But the one guy, he's telling his side of the story. They always want to tell you their side of the story.
Right.
After about 10 seconds, I knew, man, I knew he was guilty. I'm not a judge. I knew he was guilty. The other guy, I kind of felt, you know, a little bit of, you know, towards, you know, he blew out of his truck, won the bags, and he didn't get back in time and to get it. But he didn't get it.
His
So
was
that's
just
the
littering.
thing.
Was his just littering?
Yeah.
Not dumping a mattress?
No, his just littering.
Okay,
His but it was the same fine and all, you know, and court costs and all.
Yeah.
But, and I was telling Mike back in the day, you know, my my sister's boyfriend, my dad was going to take some junk to the, you know, the dump. And this guy, he volunteered. I'll take it for you. He took it all right. He dumped it on the side. He dumped it on the side of the road.
Oh, no.
A few days later, state troopers are at a house where they went through it. So you got to watch it, who you trust to do
Well, I
something.
think somebody mentioned that on Facebook, but they end up catching a guy.
They caught him,
Yeah,
and
they caught him.
and they try to make it sound like, oh, it's a big punish for that. Hey, it's dump. I mean, it's a law.
2 mattresses that's a lot.
It is.
It looks like he peed in the bed a lot. Did you notice all the stains on the mattress?
That's why he got kids, man. That man got a family. He didn't know what to do.
That's a different story in and of itself.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Bedwetters. Yeah.
Shout out the sheriff's department and whoever.
And I was going to also holler about the, they had the car show yesterday at the Steak and Shake.
Ooh.
Had 122 cars.
Wow.
And, it actually helps Steak and Shake also with their business. And they said they were lined up, so, buying stuff. So it was the Mid-10 Hot Rodders, out of Mid-10 Hot Rodders, Smyrna, Tennessee. They're the one that put it on. And
is it just open? Do any class of car can come to it?
Any class. They're having a big one over Sam Davis home September the 13th.
Okay.
We had 106, I believe, the last one on that one.
That's nice.
And I love it. I mean, food, always food, any kind of food.
Yeah.
But cars and what I like is walking around just talking to the guys. They tell about the cars. I just love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, that's
who,
about
who
it
is
for
it?
me.
Michael.
Yeah, Mike Morton, Christy Pugh, Chris Pugh, her husband, Tracy Morton, and David Ellis, and some of those guys.
Danny Judd.
Well, Danny, which is Paul Judd's brother, late, one that
Paul
actually
passed.
started it. 25 cars the very first time they did it.
Yeah.
And he passed away from COVID but before the next one.
Yeah. But, going back on that illegal dumping, I had county commissioners that were asking us to do something. Anthony Johnson and I believe Craig Harris and Pettis Reed and Carl Boyd. But that's a good example, though, of the community kind of coming together. Somebody had it on a trail cam, and Keith Bratcher, because we had some illegal dumping off Week Lane right there before Fate Center's Bridge, and Keith told me that when they picked up the trash, because Keith had went out there with them, that the people that installed the trail cams, I mean, whoever dumped the trash stole the trail cams. You're like, how in the world would somebody find
Hard
that?
out here.
Wow.
Well, I got a story about trail cams, about safes and stuff a little later. So, yeah.
All right. But anyways, but that's a good example, man, of folks coming together. That bill, it was, before it was what they call mitigated criminal littering, carried a fine of $50. What we did, and this was bipartisan, I had Senator Heidi Campbell out of Nashville help me carry it. And it moved up to $5 fine, but it gives the judges more discretion to where they can make them, pick up trash, work at Sam Davis home, and help. But it's based on the volume. So mattresses, I don't know how much square feet of volume a mattress would be, or a box spring, but anyways, but that goes show the power of something like Facebook and folks coming together. So anyways. Shout out, and you might see that guy that working at Sam Davis home, working it off, Roger.
Well, I probably
be nice to him.
He's heard me on the radio. I probably won't take that one.
You'll take that one, anyways.
We didn't mention his name, so hey,
Yeah, we did.
I don't even know his name.
I don't even think the post made his name.
He's famous now.
No. He's famous now.
He's infamous. It's infamous.
He's infamous.
Aren't you a journalism student? Don't you know the word infamous?
Come on.
Anyways, well, we're going to segue over here into gun safes and safe storage of firearms, and welcome Mark Brassfield, the owner of the Safe House.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Put this over here. There we go.
We just did a little Facebook Live, and you got some, speaking of cameras, you got cameras out front of your business.
I do. They see a lot of stuff on 4th Avenue.
Oh, and especially graveyards.
Yeah, there's a graveyard across from the Safe House on 4th Avenue.
You want to expand on that, or do you want to just not talk about it?
You love this story
I
about
just think
Megan
it's
Barry.
a cool story.
Yeah, getting caught by my cameras. Hey, Phil Wilson, you need to call me.
No, Phil Williams.
Excuse me, Phil Williams. Excuse me.
Channel 5.
Well, so Phil Wilson's another guy I know, but super nice pastor of a church in Mount Juliet.
But that's how they end up catching her with your cameras.
My cameras. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I really had nothing to do with it other than installing the cameras.
You're no way you're involved in all that.
No.
Anyways, so here's the backstory of that. If I'm not mistaken, someone called into the radio station 99.7
to Phil Williams' show. Yeah.
Oh, to Phil Williams,
and didn't identify themselves, and he came looking for that person. And my business is right across the street from the entrance of the city cemetery.
Yeah.
Oh, city cemetery.
Yeah.
And he came and asking me, hey, do you know who this person is? I was like, I don't know, Phil. And I said, but I have cameras that show the cemetery, 4 cameras that show the cemetery.
Wild,
and him and his cameraman sat for a couple of days watching it and found 20-something times of them coming
through
and going.
all the video.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't believe that didn't make it on like TMZ or some big
It did.
Joe Rogan podcast.
Well, that's been a while. That wasn't really big back then. Oh no, Inside Edition come out and did an interview with me in front of my business.
For real?
For real. I had people all over the country calling me.
Did they send that to him? Send that video
if you
and
look
find
Inside
it?
Edition,
Yeah.
I've
Was
got a
it-
picture of me standing up in front of my building.
Did you have an uptick in gun safe sales?
Oh yeah.
Did you? Are
Yeah,
you
no, I
serious?
did. I did.
For
really,
real?
a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
And people still mention it.
That's cool.
And that's a long time ago, actually.
And then she ended up running for Congress again.
Yeah, she didn't win.
No. I kind of feel
Bless
sorry
her heart.
for her.
I don't feel sorry for her. Why do you feel sorry for her?
I just feel sorry for knuckleheads.
Oh, you feel sorry for a lot of people then, don't you?
I know I do, because I hate to see people screw up, man. I mean, it's...
You're just a gentle,
but
caring
you're
kind of guy, aren't you?
hardcore. You're hardcore, though.
Well, no, I mean, just, you can't fix stupid.
I know, but...
I mean, I'm sorry.
Don't you feel...
You
Tip,
can't,
what do you
though,
think
really.
about that?
I mean, you really can't.
I mean, I just...
Bless her heart, I get Southern
I
saying.
know, it's just, because there are certain things you can move on from.
Yeah.
Certain... But things like that, it's going to be hard to move on from.
Yeah, I mean, God's full of redemption, about redemption, the Bible and all kind of stuff. So, unfortunately, I'm not a very merciful
You're
person.
hardcore. Was your dad like you? No, you said your mom
actually,
was.
my father was one of the kindest, gentlest, caring men I've ever known in my life.
Yeah.
Was a huge influence on me. You were talking about a
Yeah,
father being an
yeah.
influence. So he used to always tell me, Mark, it costs you nothing to be nice.
Yeah.
That's right.
Why don't
Nothing.
won't you ever listen to him?
Excuse me.
Why are you giving him such a hard
Can you see this?
See,
It's abuse.
But
Is
you
this
said your
abuse,
mom
Mark?
was
Is
the
there
rough
some?
one. Your mom was hard.
No, my mother. She was a very loving person, but she was very firm.
Yeah.
A very firm.
But your dad was Air Force, right? Korean War.
He was. Yeah, he was. Yep.
Yeah.
In Air Force for 4 years. I
And
think,
most of those guys were pretty rough, though.
Now, my dad, he grew up in the Depression, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and he played football with leather helmets, and him and my uncle were tough as nails.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was just a very gentle man. If you messed with him, he'd stomp you in the
Yeah.
ground. And my uncle the same way. But my brother took out more after him than me. But yeah.
But one thing you see about human behavior is, and I've been fascinated. I mean, Tiffany can attest. You've been up there with me since what, late January?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see personalities. You see a lot of egos. You see excessive pride. You just see
Butthurt, as
Oh,
you
butthurt.
always say.
You're not supposed to say it on the radio.
Yes.
Well, that's what
Butthurt.
you say.
I say butthurt a
See, I
lot.
hang out with him and I picked up his
I'm like,
words.
come on in here and learn. She listens a lot. But seriously, I do believe in forgiveness, but
Yeah.
man, I just see such pent up anger from people and lack of forgiveness. And I don't think forgiveness is being weak. I think forgiveness is really a strength.
A lot of times I think why people are angry, they don't have a voice. They feel.
No platform. And
Yeah, that's correct. Where, I mean, you're really good at that, giving people a voice for general things,
Because I'm kind.
But I really feel like people have a problem because they don't feel like they have a voice. The government doesn't represent their interest and stuff, and they feel kind of lost.
What have you seen, Tiffany? Have you seen that?
I
As
have.
a African American
in
female
the gallery. I'm gonna say
in the General Assembly, and you've watched from the gallery.
Yeah,
Do you
from the
think that
gallery.
people
I've
feel
I've
left
seen a
out?
lot of things in the gallery, and we talk about a lot of subjects. I would
Yeah.
say, so you see a lot of passionate groups, a lot of passionate, and it's not necessarily like a gender thing.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's a mixed bag, if you
Yeah.
ask me. It's a mixed
Well, I
bag.
had something happen, and I'm not. I'll talk about it after we get out of session because I want my bills to pass.
Yes.
And I want my budget
We
request
worked
done,
hard,
just
please.
in case anybody's listening that
They
want to get
are.
mad at me. I got a bill up tomorrow.
Chairman Dockett said, "Don't mention his name."
Yeah, don't mention his name on radio.
Is
You were
that
like-
is that a public forum? Can you just walk in and just sit in
No.
on the session? You can't.
No,
you have to be
can't.
invited.
No, I mean, no. It's like going to court, or something. You've got to You could, like Mark spoke, he's a pastor of the day, so he was able to speak. But you're just going to walk in and just start talking, you know. You
No. I'm talking about like to go sit up in the gallery and watch something.
Oh, yeah, you can do that.
You
But
can
you
do
can't be
that.
up there.
Yeah, no,
yelling.
I know. Can't
We
just go
have
down there and
that,
say
yeah.
just. Let me tell you.
Yeah, no, you have people that try to
You
do
will
that.
be the,
Escorted out. Yeah.
That's right.
That's the kind. That's the kind word. Yeah. But
That sheriff will get you.
Yeah, they'll come up there. But but I had something pretty cool happen. I mean, you well, don't talk about it on radio yet, Tiffany. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
But I was upset with somebody, and I sent this person a scripture. I won't say what scripture it is because then people know what I'm talking about. But these things matter to me, and I let the guy know. And this is a guy, a very influential person, and I thought either I'm going to piss this dude off or he's going to feel guilty. And I think he ended up feeling guilty, so he ended up helping me. But
let God work on his heart.
Oh, well, I do, exactly. And because what frustrates me with government is we don't get back to like the family and the basics. And we think we're going to fix all these people's lives by extended sentences and increasing, more penalties. And it's like, man, get to the basics, man. Help folks, and man, there's a lot of people out there hurting them. I just seen where Saks Fifth Avenue, they're laying off, and Bridgestone shutting down. I mean, some of those jobs are going to McMinnville, and but fortunately, the tariffs are like they're going to help Nissan. They look like they're going to bring back some domestic production, and
fingers crossed. People
but
lives can change.
but a lot of folks are hurting out there. It's a different world than we were young, Mark.
Totally different.
You know what I mean?
I kind of and moving forward is a good thing with different things, but
But are we really moving forward as a culture?
Well, I think we are. I mean, some good, some bad.
Yeah.
But we have to influence,
What's
the
good?
good
What's
and the
the
bad.
good?
Well, I mean, technology is definitely a good thing
But
if you use it correctly.
It's been bad too, though.
Well, I mean, there's been so many bad things in the world. I mean, what can you judge what's good and what's bad? It's how we use technology, and just like
I was about to say that. I was about to say, it's how it's being used. It's a tool. It's a technology, guns, all that.
Yeah, guns
all
are a
that's the
tool, just like your vehicle is a tool.
Yeah.
I mean, just like anything. But
It's
guns
the-
aren't evil. It's people are evil.
That's right.
Well, like, going back on that legislation, which I'll call a miracle. Would you say that's a miracle, or would you say it's just extremely strange coincidence that had a positive outcome?
He's putting me on the spot, isn't he? I think God, there's miracles all the time.
Right.
So, I mean, it's how you look at it.
Yeah.
I think God works in mysterious ways, bringing me and you together.
Yeah.
I mean, because I had tried to get something passed for a long time, and you give me a call. I think Marvin called me, really.
Okay.
Or was it you that
No, I
called me?
think I called you. I was
Did
sitting
you
in
call
my
me? Yeah, 'cause
other
you-
house, my old house's driveway.
Yeah, I forget a
Because you were
lot,
kind of
so-
rude.
This is abused Mark. But hey,
No,
I
you're
can
real
take
direct, though.
I can take it. Was that
You're just
rude, or is
direct.
that just me being direct?
You're just
I mean,
like, man, I said, well, hey, I've got this bill I want to run about a tax cut on gun safes, which is incentivize people lock up their
I think
guns.
I was very surprised when you called, because I didn't think anyone would take it back up because it had failed multiple times.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised. Now, look what happened. But and you asked me, is it a miracle? I think God works in mysterious ways, and the thing about people want God to talk in a booming voice, where sometimes you have to listen and He whispers to you.
Yes.
And you have to pray and listen, and then the stuff happens. And sometimes the answer is no.
Yeah.
And for what was that, 7 years? It was no, and then you brought it up and we got it passed. Or
Yeah,
you got it passed.
Well, I had
wouldn't-
called. No, you helped. I had called you. I was sitting in the driveway because I was asked to carry the bill, and I thought it was a bad bill because it was a Democrat's assistant that asked me, and I thought, surely this can't be a good bill. I mean, and she came to me, and I started making phone calls and called John Harris, TFA, Tennessee Firearms, and he said, man, we've been trying to pass that bill for years, and I heard your commercials, and I thought, well, let me call this guy, and then you were like, man, they've done a terrible job, and you were putting down one of the lawmakers. We won't say who it is on the radio.
Well, no, they just didn't do a good job. I mean, they were not Mike Sparks. I mean, which is a hard level to reach.
Well, I appreciate the kind
So,
words, but
I mean,
no, it wasn't me. It had to be divine, because I said, will you come up and help me? And remember what you said?
Yeah, I think I said yes, didn't I?
You said, well, it looks self-serving.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And I said, most people up here are pretty self-serving.
But you remember what I said when I guess it's called testifying against with the finance committee.
Testified.
I said the second time, remember they voted it down the first time? and then the second time they passed it. Remember that?
Yeah, because we did the pilot program.
Yeah,
one year.
And then
we gave them a choice.
But I told them in the committee, I said, if this saved one of your loved ones' lives, one, would that? And I'm thinking maybe that
good.
resonated.
That was good.
Resonated with them. But yeah, if it saves one life, but it I don't know. I can't sit and go, well, hey, look how many lives it saved. But it saved lives.
Yeah.
It's because it's kept guns out of hands of people who shouldn't have them.
You know, and the the sale of gun safes is up. We know that's a fact. Two, another fact we know is
asked
the
me,
theft
asked me for statistics, and there's really not like a study. And now my study is people coming into one of my locations in Tennessee, which is Nashville, Knoxville, and say, I heard that gun safes are sales-tax free, and that's helping me purchase a safe. And I bet 70 to 80% of the people that come in my showrooms or talk to me on the phone go, hey, this is, I heard the gun safes are sales-tax free. That's helping me purchase a gun safe. Yes. So it has to have helped, as well as other stuff to help block stuff up. One of the things,
awareness,
drugs.
Yeah,
I've had in the past, especially elderly people come in and have drugs that basically loved ones, relatives steal.
Oh yes,
and they buy safes for that too. Right. So I mean, there's other important things besides guns, but the keeping a gun off the street. And you asked me for some stuff, but if you read some of the stuff put out by Nashville, Davidson County and stuff, there's been almost 400 guns stolen out of vehicles this year. So, and of course we, a little plug here, we sell small safes to put handguns and other valuables in vehicles. And, that's a very important thing because, having a right to carry a gun, as we do in Tennessee, it's a responsibility, and you need to take the responsibility to secure your gun and stuff.
But the stat, I was trying to pull it up. I pulled up something Metro Police.
You pulled up something earlier that
I
was reading.
Saying it's down like 242 from last.
No, it's down. It's down. But if you read it, it's
about.
But in Nashville, 386 guns were stolen up until like four days ago.
Yeah.
And there's over
but
almost. No, that's in Davidson County. Excuse me. It's lower than that in Nashville proper. But yeah, I mean, if we can keep, people that don't need to have guns from getting guns, whether it's someone's relative. I mean, you looked at that thing down in Florida, that deputy's stepson or something got her a weapon, which people want to crucify them for, but family members, getting a gun if you have a safe and stuff, you can't give them the code to the safe.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, so I mean, you got to be responsible with a safe as well as a gun. So. It's an important responsibility, and I grew up. My father taught me gun safety.
Okay.
Yeah, from the
nice
beginning.
Guy.
But, he was a really nice guy. His name was Billy Thomas. So, Billy Thomas Presser.
Well, one thing that when you and I spoke, well, I'll back up and say this. And we're talking about strange coincidences.
Are you going to be nice?
I am going to be nice. Okay. I don't even know if Tiffany knows this, but before I got asked to carry this bill, I talk about strange coincidences. And even Einstein said that coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. But before I met you, before I was asked to carry the bill, I see where Kyle Yorlett was a 23-year-old young musician, was shot and killed point blank in I believe North Nashville with a stolen gun.
With a stolen gun, yeah.
And I seen it in the news, and for some strange reason, I went to that guy's funeral. I just don't go to people's funeral that I don't know. I just, for some strange reason, went to Kyle Yorlett's funeral. I sat at the back, and I kept thinking, why I'm at this funeral? I don't know this guy. But he was shot with a stolen gun and had his whole life in front of him. And I was sitting at the back, and I said, God, there's a reason I'm here. I could feel it. There's a reason I'm here. And then I got asked to carry that bill probably 3 weeks, maybe a month in. And that's what led to me calling you, and then you testifying, and then me testifying about Kyle. But two people spoke up. And somebody raised their hand. It was Bob Freeman, who's he's a Democrat. Not that it matters, but I thought to myself, man, he's heard Mark Brassfield's commercials. I mean, because your commercials, they're probably the most politically incorrect commercials in Nashville.
Well, thank you.
They have been.
I appreciate that.
They are.
I resemble that
statement. And so I thought, Bob's just going to.
But they're true. They are true.
Well, I'm. So Bob spoke up, but Bob bought a gun safe from me.
He did. I did.
And then another guy spoke up who was the furthest to the right of most lawmakers, Chris Todd. Chris, great guy. And then he spoke up, and I thought, yeah, when I got two guys that are flaking, that are so far apart for something, I thought, man, we got this. And we got it done. So, but that's just, when I talk about weird synchronicities, God week moments, that's one right there. But we know it's working. And I think we got a caller. Speaking of guns, caller, how you doing?
Hey, I'm a gun guy.
Yeah, speaking of guns, doing good, brother. Hey, Marty, you've got to meet. Yeah, you've come by the house, right? Marty's house.
Have I met Marty?
I thought
you were going to say, have I met Marty?
Yeah, that's right. I know you have. I remember now.
Yeah, remember he came up and was on my little podcast thing I did.
Yep. Done the radio.
And I came over. What was that little get together? I came over one time at Marty's.
Alice Rowley's mayoral announcement.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Hey, Marty, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing
I got
wonderful.
A quick question for you, because a lot of people probably want to know this. In Nashville, just Nashville, not surrounding counties, in the first 3 months, January, February, March, 286 guns were stolen out of cars.
Yep, that's what we were talking about. Yeah.
And that's down.
Too many.
Yeah.
I know that you've got gun safes for cars, right?
Yes, sir, we do. We do.
Okay. Well,
all kinds.
I'm gonna promote that on one of my sites, because
I've got multiple ones.
Huh?
I have multiple, sizes and things you can secure guns in a vehicle with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna promote that, because this is crazy, man. All these guns being stolen out of cars, and the thing is, people are leaving their keys in the car. They're leaving the doors unlocked, and then they get in there and get the guns.
Well, I'm a big believer in punishing the person who stole the gun more so than the person with, putting a gun in a vehicle, because if you have a locked door on your vehicle, to me, that's securing the gun. Now, should you secure it even more? Well, yeah. And of course, I'm in the safe business, so yeah, buy a safe and secure your gun in your vehicle. But, to me, we need to punish the people stealing the guns, kind of like throwing mattresses out on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And that.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, and I know that's opening a can of worms, but I really think that people who do bad things should be held accountable and not just thrown back out on the street. Yeah.
I do too. And Mike, I gotta commend you with a heart like yours and the forgiveness you have for everybody. Everybody, Mike.
Well, most people.
And Roger, lastly, this is the only thing I want to say. Roger, the idea about when I was on the board of directors of Sam Davis Alpha, I don't think you were there yet. You may have been, coming. But anyhow, it was my idea that I presented to the club to start having car shows on the grounds.
Oh yeah, you tell me about that. And but this year you're going to be in there. You're going to have your car in the car show, aren't you?
I am.
And I saw it yesterday, man. I saw it sitting down there, man. I wanted to get in that car so bad. It's nice.
At 55.
Yeah, at 55, sit down there, shining, about put my eyes out and walk around there. Oh, Lord, Marty, why'd you do that to me?
Well, you could have got in. The keys are in the car. The door's unlocked. And there's only 3 guns in there.
Oh, but had a great time, Marty. Man, you got a nice. I've never been that back part of your house. That's nice back there, man. That really is.
I really enjoy it a lot. I go back there and.
I was glad to see you at church, man. I was.
Yeah, I saw you. I was walking out to the bathroom. I saw you coming. I was like, oh, that's Marty.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would have stayed for the whole thing. Joe was sick this morning when he come to get me.
Yeah.
And he was bad sick, but he went ahead and took me. And then we're sitting in church. Well, before church started, he went in the bathroom and got sick. And then while church was going on, I said, Joe, you're gonna be okay. And he shook his head, and I said, we got to go. Let's get out of here. Well, anyhow, we had to stop on 24 so he could get out of the car and throw up.
Really?
Oh, wow. When we got home, it was even worse. Yeah, he was in bad shape.
Oh, well.
What did he get sick from?
I think he ate some nasty oysters last night. And then he
Aren't there
forgot
good
to take
oysters?
his,
After all that good food yesterday, he couldn't get full on all that.
And then he went out and ate nasty oysters last night.
That's gross.
And he's a diabetic, and he didn't take his medicine yesterday.
Ooh.
So
That
he thought
could have
he'd
had something to do with
double down today and take it all at one time.
Yeah. Well,
That's bad.
Marty was talking about forgiveness, and I think I've shared that story where you run me out of your insurance company. Mark knows that when I was.
I always like to bring it up.
17.
It
really
made
hurt
him
my
a better
feelings.
man.
I vowed I'm gonna get him back one day, and I was gonna, dude. I was locked, man, dude. I was fixing to draw on you, and I was like, what will my mom do? She'd forgive. What would Jesus do? And then I thought, what my dad would do, he'd have cussed you. I know the saying, he said, don't let that door hit you in AWS on the way out. And I was fixing to use that line, and just something stopped me, and I was like, and I ended up, selling you a truck or something,
You did, and you made enough money off me to forgive me 1,000 times.
Money does have a way of making you forgive people. Money does have a way of doing that, changing hearts. Yeah.
All right, well, you guys go and talk some more. I'm going to hang up.
Thank you, brother.
The show.
Be
Mark,
good.
It's good talking to you.
You too, man.
Sir, take care, Marty.
Good to see you, Marty.
We'll catch up. No, really forgiveness. I mean, we don't really talk about it as a society, but I'm a little mad. I've got a couple of members I'm pissed off at right now in General Assembly. I really am. I shouldn't share it on the radio, but I am. I'm really upset with a few people, and it's going to take me a little time, but it's just I guess. What's it say? That time heals all wounds. But when you feel like somebody lies to you, and to your face, well, not to your face, through a text, and then and then votes another way. I mean, it's like,
right.
This is, Anyways, and it's my own party that I get pissed off at. Democrats, I don't get pissed off at Democrats because
You know what to expect.
there ain't enough of them. You know what I mean? But you know what? I mean, General Assembly, it's a whole different ball of wax, man, because
Can I ask you a question about what happened with the whole bill about they voted it down about protecting your property and stuff? That bill that got shot down?
Which one?
About defending your property.
Must have failed in subcommittee.
It did, and they had like a law enforcement guy and some other lady that was some administrative person talking about it, and they got it. Didn't get voted out of committee or something like that.
I'm not on criminal. So I didn't see it.
It was.
Did you go up there and follow?
I was following it because I think it's something. It's kind of like Texas's bill, or not bill. They actually have a law that you can defend your property.
Oh yeah, Castle Doctrine.
Well, it's not Castle Doctrine. It's so say if somebody is, say, in your barn stealing your stuff, and you walk out there with a gun and shoot them for stealing your stuff in Tennessee, and people don't understand this, in Tennessee you can be prosecuted for that, where like in Texas you can't. You can defend property, but if you go and read the bills in Tennessee, you can't brandish a weapon and defend your property unless someone correct me if I'm wrong, unless they're threatening you. Now, if they come up, they have a gun, they're threatening you, you can defend yourself. But if they're stealing your car, you can't go shoot them for stealing your car.
No. Well, I brought it up after you and I talked about this last year. Right. I happened to see a TBI agent that I know, and I brought it up to him. That bill comes up almost every year. And he gave some legalese of why they're not for it. But speaking of barns and speaking of guns, I mean, Marty, if he's listening, he held some guys at gunpoint. I think it was 4 or 5 guys at his barn. They were down in his barn. This is before he had his car accident, and if folks know Marty, he can't walk since that car wreck. But this had been 5 or 6 years ago, and he held them I guess he had one of them 6-shooters and held them there and called the law. And I remember him telling me that the couple of the guys one of them seemed a little aggressive like towards the deputy, and Marty told him, he said, brother, you better step back. The guy couldn't speak English,
right?
And or at least he didn't think he could, or act like he couldn't. And he said I think the officer thanked him, because he was I think it was one officer that showed up.
Right.
Then several others showed
and
up.
two, it's a lot to do with the DA, whether you get prosecuted for that. Because if they want to push this stuff about brandishing a weapon, and holding someone at gunpoint for trespassing or something like that, you can. And please, if I am wrong, I want someone to correct me. But I've talked to John at TFA about this, and it's something that needs to be changed in Tennessee because people are under the misconception that you can protect your property. And like in Davidson County, Shelby County, up in Memphis and stuff, you have a rogue DA, they can go after you. Yeah. And that needs to be changed in Tennessee. Maybe we could work on that next year.
Yeah, I mean, we can, but hey, unless you got a bunch of lobbyists out there, it's hard. I mean, I'm telling you, it's hard to pass things if you don't have a bunch of
I think the power of the people.
Well, it is, and that's
if you
where
get
you need
enough
some
people
organization.
interested in it, and really, it only take one big case to make it.
Well, we're seeing, I mean, even in Smyrna, you see a rise in crime. I mean, I don't know, Roger, if you get those alerts, but get an alert. It'll be like Enon Springs Road, there was an assault. Lowry, there was an assault. Theft over here. And when I was a kid, man, we didn't hardly have any trouble. Do you remember any trouble?
Yeah, I was telling them back when I was in school, you could have a gun in your truck.
In your truck
rack.
I did.
Truck rack, because you go out and hunt after.
We go hunting after school, and we'd have a gun.
If you got into it, I'm gonna go get my gun. You just got in a fist fight 3 or 4 days later. You were buddies, or
you never thought to go get your gun.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's just so different kind of world today.
That's just. There was a word for it. I can't remember what it was, but that just says no. That just says how much the world has changed from y'all's time.
But let me ask you, all three of y'all, give me just one word. How do we change it? Mark Brassfield, how do we change it? Give me a word.
What are we
changing?
Society.
How do we improve society?
Well, everybody needs Christ.
Amen. All right, what's your answer?
I was about to say that, and they need faith.
So okay. And then what do you say?
Well, same thing. It's obvious. You know what I'm saying? But also. I don't know how to change it, but someone to look up to.
Mentorships, I think forgiveness.
Yeah,
forgiveness is huge. Let me. We've got a few more minutes. Let me mention something real quick. Yeah. Something I've seen. I had 2 customers come in. Is people need to watch for trail cameras in their yards because these criminals are putting trail cameras in people's yards to watch their movement, and they see your schedule and everything, and they're breaking these people's houses when they're gone. So that's one thing. Look for trail cameras, especially in subdivisions, where they can see multiple cars coming and going and stuff. But I've had two customers already come in and say they found trail cameras in their yards.
A lot of these thieves and criminals, they're dressing up as Amazon drivers.
Yeah, did you see that? Yeah, and stealing
they're
stuff.
Dressing up as Amazon drivers. They're dropping off a package. The guys are dropping off a package, and then they're reporting back about the customers' whereabouts and their scheduling.
I had something strange happen about 6 weeks ago. I had a drone over my house about 9:30 or 10. I was sitting out there and I heard a zzz, and I thought, what is that? It had a headlight on it. A headlight zoomed in, and I called Deputy Chris Beach, and Chris, knows all that drone stuff, and he thought it may have been some kids. I'm like, not kids with an expensive drone like this, and anyways, just be alert. And if you need a gun safe, visit the safe house.
Yep.
Give a call to Mark Brassfield.
That's it.
Yep. And what's your number over, Mark?
Well, just go to naturalsafehouse.com.
Can you ask for the WGNS discount?
You sure can.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Connor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Roger. And folks, listen in for the beautiful Angela Bingham, who's coming up next.